Some films get Oscars, others become cult classics. But there are only a few films which become truly one of a kind. Wall Street, directed by the legendary Oliver Stone, hit theaters in 1987. It became one of the most important movies of the 80s, a time when people both hated and admired corporate greed. Not only was it the only film in Stone's career for which he made a sequel, but it also pulled off a double win that no other movie has matched to this day. By the end of 1986, Oliver Stone's Platoon had just exploded in theaters. Made for just $6 million, Platoon earned $138, finishing the year behind only Top Gun and Crocodile Dundee. The movie won 4 Oscars and cemented Stone's status as a top-tier director. But Stone didn't just win an Oscar, he became Hollywood's hottest commodity overnight. Directors usually take their time after a huge success, but not Stone. He jumped right into Wall Street, keeping the momentum going. At first, the director wanted to make a movie about the 1950s quiz show scandals. While discussing this idea with his friend Stanley Weiser, Stone suddenly felt a film about Wall Street would be better, and the title Greed for the upcoming project was set.
Greed is good.
Weiser was reluctant, though. He knew nothing about the financial markets, so he and Stone both spent 3 weeks visiting brokerage houses and interviewing investors.
If money is evil, then that building is hell. This is the most obnoxious group of money-hungry, low IQ, high energy, jackrabbit, wannabe big-time, small-time, talking, bothersome, irritating bunch of motherfuckers I have ever had to endure for more than 5 minutes.
The director also told Weiser to read Crime and Punishment and The Great Gatsby as an inspiration for the script. These books behold the necessary morality Stone wanted to put into the story. Some big Hollywood names were eager to participate in the upcoming project, Tom Cruise among them. He was backflipping around the director asking for the role. He was so desperate actually that the actor offered to work for free and didn't even ask to add any running scenes. But Stone wasn't interested, and later said he never second-guesses his choices. Keep that in mind. From the very start, his guy was Carlos Estevez, better known as Charlie Sheen. The director liked Sheen's stiff, almost awkward acting style. It made Bud Fox's wide-eyed naivety feel real. As for the role of Gordon Gekko, well, it could turn out completely different. Richard Gere was offered to portray Gekko before Douglas, but he passed. Warren Beatty refused as well. Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, James Woods, and Jack Nicholson also got the offer, but all of them couldn't participate due to other commitments. In the end, Stone ultimately chose Michael Douglas, and the actor agreed. He had just quit heroic roles like the one in Romancing the Stone, and was looking for something dark and edgy. Everyone warned the director not to cast Douglas. At the time, the actor was more known as a talented producer who could just undermine the director and micromanage the film. But Stone wasn't frightened of that and went all in with Michael. In surprise, it turned out Douglas was a total pro. He never gave unwanted advice, always showed up early, and obeyed the director like Rob Schneider obeys Adam Sandler. He wasn't a problem, but the director was. Douglas later said working with Stone was hell because the director constantly tried to mess with him. One day, Stone just walked into Douglas's trailer and straight up asked if he was on drugs. The actor demanded to know why he'd even ask that, and Stone responded, "That's because Douglas looks like it's his first time acting." It turned out it wasn't just random trolling. Stone had a method. He wanted Douglas to always feel challenged, always feel slightly off balance, just like the real-life corporate shark he was portraying. Eventually, Michael realized Stone was pushing him to deliver an authentic performance. But at the time, he got terrified and worked on his lines again and again, pushing himself harder than he had before. The actor was chain-smoking 40 cigarettes a day just to handle the stress. So, yeah, no shocker that Douglas walked away with an Oscar after all that suffering. But it's only half the story. While Douglas had to endure the director himself faced challenges with 2 difficult actresses, Sean Young and Daryl Hannah. Young was furious she didn't get the role that went to Hannah, and the actress didn't just complain, she demanded Hannah to be immediately fired. God knows if this hatred was born on the set of this film or started back in 1982, when the two actresses worked together in Blade Runner. After multiple rejections of Stone's request to fire Hannah, Young started to show up late, unprepared, and picked fights. She played Gordon Gekko's wife and originally had more screen time, but Stone got so fed up with Young that he cut most of her scenes. She also didn't get along with Charlie Sheen. At one point, the actress told Sheen to take acting classes or just quit entirely to spare the world and the movie from his presence. Sheen got his revenge by taping a piece of paper with insults on her back. No one on set told Young about it. What happened when the actress finally found out? Well, I guess we'll never know, and only can use our imaginations to portray such an epic. And finally, there was the very reason Sean Young went berserk, Daryl Hannah. Stone later admitted the actress wasn't happy with the role from the very start, as it was against everything she as an activist represented. So probably her taking the role was a mistake from the start, and she shouldn't have done it if she didn't want to be seen as, and I quote, a spoiled rich girl or a hooker type bimbo.
Daryl had in her beauty. She misunderstood that. There are girls like that. So it's this disconnect between reality and political correctness. You know? There was 5 real women, in my opinion, in that movie, but it will never be accepted by feminists that way.
Hannah's performance was so poorly received that she won a Razzie for Worst Supporting Actress. Was it deserved? Well, some critics argue Hannah was just miscast. Others claim the actress dragged down every scene she was in. Anyways, the Razzie was taken, and that's a fact. That made Wall Street the only film in history which earned both an Oscar and a Razzie. Ironically, both Douglas and Charlie Sheen initially warned the director that Hannah was a miscast. But as you already know, Stone doesn't change his decisions. Only years later did he finally acknowledge this disastrous casting choice, one that had been obvious to everyone on set. There was another casting choice that could have been a total disaster, but it never played out. Stone wanted Martin Sheen to play Charlie Sheen's father on screen. Sounds perfect, right? Well, not exactly. The Sheens were known for their constant fighting, often turning violent. So, to avoid such chaos, Stone let Charlie decide. Martin Sheen or Jack Lemmon? Charlie stuck with family. Luckily, Stone's fears didn't come true, maybe because the set was already toxic enough, and the Sheens figured there was no need to make it worse. At the box office, Wall Street wasn't a huge hit, but it made a solid $45 million with a budget of $15. More importantly, it became an instant cult classic. Michael Douglas's career skyrocketed. Wall Street led directly to Fatal Attraction, Basic Instinct, and Disclosure. The actor fully embraced playing rich, powerful men on screen. Charlie Sheen's didn't quite reach the same heights, but his paycheck sure did. After Wall Street, he was making $1 million per movie. He went right back to the usual Sheen family brawls, signing on for Young Guns alongside his brother Emilio Estevez. As for Daryl Hannah, well, she's never seen the film. The actress said in an interview working with Stone was a rough experience and an unhealthy relationship. Eventually, Hannah redeemed herself with Kill Bill. Her Razzie for the Wall Street win is still debated. Like, maybe she deserved it, and maybe she was just in the wrong movie. Either way, Wall Street remains Hollywood's strangest double winner due to some great and some terrible casting choices. Speaking of some terrible casting choices, don't forget to check out our Edward Norton video. Chasing perfection, he was replacing the screenwriter, the editor, or even the director. Spoiler, some of these films have been iconic. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.